Replication, which is a part of the Veeam backup and replication name, is a way that we can protect mission-critical VMware and Hyper-V virtual machines. We can replicate the virtual machine, which creates an exact copy of the VM in that native VMware or Hyper-V format on the target host. And the great thing about this technology is it then keeps that copy in sync with the original virtual machine. It's almost like using the Hyper-V replication from one server to another and then failing over when needed. Inside Veeam in the Home tab on the lower left side, I'll go up to Jobs, and I'm going to right click and choose Replication and choose Virtual Machine. So this works in both VMware as well as in Hyper-V. I'm going to leave the replication job just the way it is. We have some advanced controls. The first one is going to be replica seeding. And what you do in this case is you copy the file to, say, a USB drive, and then you move it to your disaster recovery site because you don't have the bandwidth to copy the entire thing over to the DR site. And then you just update that particular virtual machine rather than copy the whole thing across the internet. It's a very popular way of doing this if you have low bandwidth. And it's also a common thing if you're moving files, say, to Azure, for instance. You can mail them the hard drive, and then they'll copy it over for you. You can also do a network remapping if you have a disaster recovery site where you're using different subnets. So you need to choose the correct subnet, choose the correct IP address, things like that. And that's because the IP address isn't going to match the IP address of the source virtual machine. So it has to be remapped. I'm going to uncheck these because I don't have any of those issues. We also have a high priority option as well. So if there are other jobs running, you can make this one have the highest priority. I'll click Next to continue, and now I'm going to choose to add my virtual machine to replicate. I'm going to expand my virtual machine host, which I've gone ahead and added already in a previous video. I'm just going to choose my client and click Add, and then click Next. But you can add additional ones if you'd like. Now it's asking me for my host or cluster. So if I have a cluster, I can choose that. And if I have just a plain old Hyper-V or VMware host, then I can choose that. So I'm going to choose the only one that I've previously added and click OK. So if you don't see the one you need in there, then go to where you can add in backup hosts under Jobs and Backup, and then you'll see those additional ones later on. Now we see the path. This is a really important part because if I choose my default C:\replicas, it might fill up my C drive and crash my server. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to click on Choose, and then we see my host, and I'm going to expand my C drive, and I'm going to choose cluster storage. So even though I have this set up as a plain old Hyper-V host, it actually is running as a cluster. I just didn't add it that way when I added it in. So I'm going to choose the volume 3, which I know has a lot of space, and I'm going to click on creating a new folder, and I'll call it replicas. And I'll select it and click OK. So now I don't have to worry about my root of my C drive getting all filled up. And now it's found the repository for my replica metadata. So I want to go ahead and choose that default information. Unless it's not up to date, then you can hit the drop down and choose the location and then click Next. If I'm using a built-in WAN accelerator for offsite replication, then I can choose that, but I don't have that. This is going to be a direct replication. And if I have specific applications I'm concerned about, I can choose the Enable Application Aware Processing. This is just a simple client, so I don't have to worry about that. But if I do, then I can go ahead and select that here and choose my applications. Now I have the option to when I'd like to run the job. So I'll choose that daily and click Apply and then Finish. And now I'm going to have a replica copy of my virtual machine that I can restore right away if I need to, and it will be always kept up to date.